Okay, good morning. And I just want to thank everybody for coming today. We're going to get started. As usual for our press conferences, we're going to have all three speakers get up and deliver their portion. After they're finished speaking, we will have a question and answer period. After the question and answer portion, the speakers are available for one-on-one interviews if anybody is interested in doing that. So we can set those up. The first speaker we'll have today is going to be Superintendent Rhonda Corsi. The name's on the plate there for spelling. Following the superintendent, we're going to have Peel Regional Police Detective Sergeant Mustafa Durgan. And following him will be Inspector Simon James from York Regional Police. And so I'd like to welcome Superintendent Rhonda Corsi.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to York Regional Police Headquarters, and thank you for joining us here this morning. I would like to introduce the speakers and other attendees who have joined us. Speaking today will be Detective Sergeant Mustafa Durgan of Peel Regional Police and Inspector Simon James of York Regional Police, both former members of their respective Special Victims Unit and who remain the officers in charge of Project Blue Light. Also joining us are Peel Regional Police Acting Superintendent Lisa Hewison and Acting Deputy Chief Hubert Hiltz. These investigators and their teams have been working diligently for 9 long years to bring this accused to justice and to solve these 2 violent sexual assaults. I commend their dedication, their commitment, and their tireless efforts to bring this accused to justice. We also had the assistance of our important partner agencies, the Center of Forensic Sciences, which, using the latest forensic testing, brought us closer to identifying this accused. Both agencies followed the protocols established by Ontario's major case management system, ensuring information was shared and the investigation proceeded in collaboration. The success of this investigation serves to highlight the strong working relationship we continue to share with Peel Regional Police. The efforts of both agencies to bring what closure we could to the life-altering trauma these unsuspecting women experienced as a result of this heinous crime are very much appreciated, not only by the victims, but also by both of our communities. The investigators and their teams have our sincerest gratitude. I will now turn the podium over to the 2 experienced investigators who will summarize both investigations. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Corsi. I'd like to now introduce Detective Sergeant Mustafa Durgan.
Thank you, Superintendent Corsi. Good morning. As mentioned, my name is Detective Sergeant Mustafa Durgan, and I'm with Peel Regional Police. Thank you to everyone for being here today. We are here today after 9 long years of tracking down the offender who was responsible for 1 brutal attack in the City of Mississauga and another one in Richmond Hill. Here are the details of the Mississauga incident. On September 27th, 2013, at approximately 12 a.m., the victim, a 47-year-old woman, exited a Mississauga transit bus at Huron-Ontario Street, just south of South Service Road in the City of Mississauga. The victim then walked along South Service Road. As she approached Crestview Avenue, the offender approached her from a bushy area and grabbed her in a blitz-style attack. The offender concealed his identity with a face covering. He then aggressively pulled her towards a bushy area while indicating he had a weapon. He threatened the victim with this weapon. Once the female was dragged in the forested area, the offender then violently sexually assaulted her. The offender threatened to kill her and her family if she reported the incident to police. The offender then fled the area but left forensic evidence at the crime scene. Peel Regional Police Special Victims Unit commenced an extensive investigation at the time of the Mississauga incident. Approximately 14 months later, investigators learned of a forensic link to the Richmond Hill incident that York Regional Police Special Victims Unit was investigating. Since we learned that the two incidents were connected, we have been working collaboratively with York Regional Police Special Victims Unit. We spent many hours over the last 9 years trying to identify this offender and bring him before the courts in relation to these attacks. I'll leave it to my friend Inspector Simon James to outline the York Regional Police investigation and detail how we concluded this investigation with the arrest of the accused. We at Peel Regional Police are grateful for this collaborative effort with York Regional Police, and I'd like to thank the dedicated investigators from both Peel Regional Police and York Regional Police for their diligence and commitment to solving these crimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Detective Sergeant, and I apologize for the sound issue. I'd like to introduce Inspector Simon James.
Morning, everyone. Thank you. On November 13th, 2014, a 17-year-old female exited a transit bus at Yonge Street and Canyon Hill Ave in the City of Richmond Hill. She proceeded to walk westbound on Canyon Hill Ave when she was approached by the offender, who was wearing a ski mask and armed with a knife. The offender demanded money from the victim and violently assaulted her. He dragged her approximately 50 meters into a field with tall grass. Once in that field, he tied the victim up and viciously sexually assaulted her. The victim was threatened that if she went to police, that she would be killed. The York Regional Police Special Victims Unit immediately conducted an intensive investigation into this occurrence. As a result of that investigation, forensic evidence from the scene was sent to the Center of Forensic Sciences for analysis. Within a number of weeks, they discovered that both the York and Peel cases were linked forensically. However, the offender's identity remained unknown. Ontario's multi-jurisdictional major case management protocols were engaged, and both police services began collaboratively working together and formed what is now known as the Blue Light Task Force. Over the years, the Blue Light Task Force has leveraged multiple new and existing technologies to help solve these crimes. Some of these technologies included the use of ancestry DNA testing in 2015 that showed that the offender's heritage was most likely that of an East Asian male. In 2019, genealogy testing was also conducted that showed the offender was most likely of a Korean origin. In the fall of 2021, we received information from the Center of Forensic Sciences in regards to a forensic link from an incident unrelated to these two attacks. The offender's identity remained unknown. However, this information furthered the investigation and gave the investigative team new leads to pursue. We interviewed witnesses in an unrelated case outside of our jurisdiction, and the information from some of those interviews assisted in us identifying the accused. I can say today that as of March 11th, 2022, York and Peel Regional Police have arrested Jae-hoon Cho, also known as David Cho, 32 years, from the City of Toronto. He's been charged with numerous offenses, including multiple counts of kidnapping and sexual assault with a weapon. Investigators believe there may be more victims who have not reported to police. This may be because of threats the suspect has made to hurt them or their families, or they may be reluctant to come forward to police and be involved in a police investigation. I want to reassure that anyone who comes forward will be treated with compassion and respect. The identity of sexual assault victims is protected by law. There's no statute of limitations as it pertains to sexual offenses, and if an incident occurred a long time ago, they can still be prosecuted today. And I think, as has been demonstrated by this case, we never give up trying to solve these crimes. That's a very important piece, I think, for both victims and for offenders to realize that we will not stop and we will continue to work to solve these cases. We're asking that any victims who believe they were assaulted by this accused or anyone with information about these cases or the accused, please come forward to police. Both Peel and York Regional Police operate special victims units with highly skilled investigators who are available to anyone wanting to come forward. Thank you. So at this time, I will take any questions, as will Detective Sergeant Durgan. Yes?
Incident that led you to them?
The third incident is in a different police jurisdiction, and as a result of that, it's not something that I can get into at this point in time.
Is it a sexual assault of some kind?
It's an unrelated incident. It's not linked to these cases in terms of it being a sexual assault, but I can't get into the other jurisdiction's case as it's still an active investigation.
Can you expand on, were witnesses able to identify him as the other one?
Just because it's a current investigation, I don't want to get into details on that, just to protect the integrity of that case.
Was
Was there any, were the victims in this case able to make any physical links between, like you see he has multiple tattoos, was there any sort of physical sort of links that were corroborated by the victims, I guess, in this case?
There's certain things that the victims have said, but not stuff that I could put out right now as it's before the courts. Both attacks happened late at night, so it was very dark as well.
Was he tattooed like that at the time, the assaults?
I don't know.
Why do you think there's more victims?
We believe there may be, and we're hoping that the media has helped us in this case throughout its entirety, and we're hoping that they will come forward if there are. Often victims in these situations are fearful to come forward to police. We want to reassure them that we do have people here who are willing to talk to them and want to speak with them.
I think at the top,
Can you talk about, so there was a DNA link between the first two scenes and then it was the third scene that obviously connected, or the third incident that connected. Can you talk about sort of the DNA link and
Well, there's a forensic link, but I can't get into the specifics, unfortunately, right now.
So it's just a forensic link, you're not able to say if it's DNA or?
Yeah, at this point, I can just say that it's a forensic link between the scenes.
I think at the time you spoke about a mask and a knife. Have those things been recovered?
Again, the investigation's in its early stages. I can say that multiple search warrants have been executed and potentially more search warrants will be executed, but I can't get into those details.
He was arrested in Toronto?
He was arrested in the city of Brampton in Peel region, but he's a Toronto resident. He does, but I'm not going to prepare to speak about that right now. He is employed.
Yeah,
Yes.
He remains in custody?
He does.
When's his next court hearing?
March 17th. March 17th.
And you're not able to say what other jurisdiction the third incident happened in?
Yeah, the third incident, as I say, is an unrelated incident. So I can't, they have an active investigation, so I can't discuss that right now, but it is unrelated to these occurrences.
But you can't say like what police service is investigating?
No, not at this time.
Talk to me about the emotion of going after this person for such a long time, finally connecting the dots and getting the rest. What's that like for you?
Well, I think it's a case that's, it's bothered both the investigative team and the community. I mean, these victims, no one should ever have to go through that. It is nice to see after all this time that we've been able to make an arrest. I'd say that.
Can you talk about sort of the forensic aspect of this, the science that goes into this to be able to determine that link? Because, that wasn't there potentially he would have never been found.
Well, forensics is evolving constantly. I think a big part of this investigation has been as a result of the Center of Forensic Sciences. It's a technology that's constantly evolving. I mentioned ancestry DNA testing earlier. That is just an investigative aid, but testing like that is continuing, and it's continuing to progress throughout the years, even from when we first did it to now. So the technology is always evolving, and it's certainly something that we work very closely with and helps us further investigations.
So originally there was a link between the two, but no ID associated with it. It wasn't.
That's right. He remained unknown, but we knew the two cases were linked. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector. That concludes the formal portion of our press conference. All the speakers are available for one-on-one interviews if anybody's interested in doing that. Thank you so much for attending.